belts, blockbusters. You are listening to the Triple B podcast. Let's fucking go.
Welcome back to the Triple B podcast, Bourbon, Belts, and Blockbusters. I'm Ryan.
I'm Tim.
And we're coming at you with episode 20 of the podcast now, where we talk about wrestling, movies, and shows. And we talk about, well, we drink bourbon.
We drink bourbon, but we do talk about it.
We do talk about it also. It'd be kind of weird if we didn't. You just open it, drink it, and move on, like no words. But yeah, man, kind of another little milestone of an episode. Episode 20. We've now successfully had multiple guests on back-to-back episodes, and then a half if you count my daughter on my lap. So technically 3. 2 that actually fully were involved in the conversation, but yeah, man.
First episode without you, it was weird.
Yeah,
it was weird, but
I know.
But we got through it. I think Justin did a great job. So
it was cool for me to like listen to it though. Yeah. Like it was actually kind of like I don't know when or if it'll happen, but it'll be kind of exciting for whenever it's the first time that you're not able to be there for it, and then I find somebody, because like I was stoked to just listen to it.
Nice.
Because I was just like, I have no idea what they talked about. I didn't look at the agenda. I didn't look at nothing. I literally just turned the episode on and listened to it. And you guys kept it short and sweet, too, unlike what we usually do. It was like 57 minutes. I was like, all right, I can listen to this quickly.
Zoom right through that.
Yeah. No, dude, it was awesome. I thought it was cool to, just hear what somebody else that has been a fan of the show and also just a fan of all of the different things we talk about in general.
Yeah.
Be able to come on and hold his own. I thought Justin did a great job. So
he was excited for it too.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Cool.
Awesome, dude. Well,
let's get to it, man.
Right along. It's what we're here for.
My cash in this week.
Hell yeah, it is. Don't knock Jeff off that ladder.
He looks sturdy on it. All right. We got Brown's ATB's Wine Barrel Bourbon.
Ooh.
So
piqued my interest.
Brown is a local company here in Washington, mostly known for their wine, but they've been putting out some bourbons, and so really excited for this one. It has the word French oak in it, so it got me excited for that.
That's French oak and wine.
So
my pants got tighter.
It made me instantly think of our Maker's Mark for our first episode.
Yeah, though that instantly made me think when you said the wine. Just the last episode I was here for, episode 18, when we had Nathan on, I talked about the Basil Hayden's that's distilled in wine casks. So and that's like one of my favorite bourbons. So
nice.
I'm very excited for this. Hopefully not too excited. I'm hoping I'm hoping I didn't just set my own bar too high for this and have it end up disappointing me, but it looks good. I like it, the kind of the reddish hue that it's got through the bottle.
Yeah, and it has,
definitely.
I told you it would take a little minute to open. It has like the wax over the top.
That's a nice though. That's when you know that I think we're looking good.
All right.
Oh yeah, that looks great.
Let's get to it, man. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers, man.
All right.
Ooh, I got a lot of different feelings. I feel like that just hit my mouth in multiple different ways.
Yeah. It's definitely a full flavor to it.
Definitely full flavor. It's sweet, but it also, and I mean this in a good way too, I feel like it just cleared my sinuses.
No kidding, right?
Like almost like a wasabi, or like the hot mustard. You go to like a Chinese restaurant and they bring out the pork with the ketchup mustard and the seeds. And you do I don't know if you do. This is what I do. I do like a big old thing of mustard because I like to just torture myself. Not in a sexual way or anything, but maybe a little bit. We'll see. Anyway, no, like I was like, ooh, I was like, woo. Like that was kind of like my whole mental response to that. All right. I'm going to go an 8.
Yeah, I was thinking 8 too.
I'm going to do an 8 on it.
It's still not the maker's mark.
No, not the maker's mark. It wasn't the Tin Cup 10 either.
Yeah, no.
Tin Cup. Yeah, Tin Cup 10. Yeah. So, no, it's really good though.
It is.
I could definitely sit here and sip on this.
But it definitely, like you said, it has everything you just said. It just starts off sweet, but then quickly just kicks you. It has a bite. Barks has a bite, right?
Definitely.
Really like it. Like the presentation of the bottle.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful bottle.
This is my second bourbon trying of brown. So
okay. Nice.
So excited to try. I think they got a couple more, and so excited to go down the line and try them.
So you've had a brown bourbon before? Yeah. How would you compare this one to that one?
Well, I'm a big fan of.
Which one it was?
Yeah, it was like a vanilla bean one, and
gotcha.
It's definitely on the sweeter side, so it's easier to sip on. Like this one's gonna be a sippable one, but that one definitely, like, you can almost drink. It's like candy.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So yeah. All right, man.
Well, I don't. Did you already say where you got it?
I got it from Total Wine.
Total Wine. About price range?
It was on sale, not a big sale, but it was like $45, and then add the liquor tax and everything.
Yeah, so
but
probably walked out about like 50, 55,
60,
somewhere in there.
Yeah.
60?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it Total Wine, man.
All right.
It's like
Total Wine has
candy
everything.
store.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's
almost overwhelming. Just
you're like a drunk in an alcohol store. No, Total Wine's fucking awesome. I love that place, especially like you walk down the whiskey aisle and they have it broken up to like American whiskey. Like I think they have like sour mash section, and then the bourbon, and you're just like, and it's like a fucking 30 or 40 foot long section of like 6 shelves, top floor to the top of just bourbon. So
and then they got
a
like
lot of options,
awards and all these different things.
Yep, they have all their different tags,
and I'm just like,
allows you to really kind of break down. I wish there was one closer to me. It's like either
no kidding.
Puyallup or Tukwila, so it's like either way, it's like 35 minutes for me to get to. But, but yeah, because I feel like I'm running out of decent options at Safeway and Fred Meyer. So,
well, maybe go to a grocery outlet. Didn't you find the Merlot?
I did. I found the Basil Hayden's originally. That wine one.
Maybe find a secret find there
at Gobbum. That's what I call it. Grocery outlet bargain market. I stole that from my buddy Mitch at work. But that's what we call it now, Gobbum. But yeah, dude, hell yeah, that's good. I'm excited to keep on sipping.
Sweet.
We got our socials. We got at TripBpod at Instagram, X, YouTube, and TikTok. We're on Spotify, Apple, and Amazon Podcasts. And our Gmail is triplebpod619@gmail.com. Hit us up with any types of anything. Honestly, we will take any form of interaction from anybody. Haven't had a lot of it yet, so we're hoping we can continue to build that.
Yeah, agreed.
Dude, you went to Wrestle Dream last weekend. Dude. I know we kind of stopped covering AEW on the show as like a regular thing, but it's definitely worth noting and talking about for this. So,
dude, it was a great show, man. It was long. Yeah. It fully went. I think we got there. It started at 3:30 and went till 9 o'clock.
Holy shit!
So they definitely don't
waste 5.5 hour show.
They don't waste your money when it comes to pay-per-view shows.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
I gotta say the finale, the Bryan Danielson losing to Jon Moxley, it took the air out of the whole arena. I've never got out of a show feeling like silent. It wasn't like usually going out of show. You're like, dude, that was awesome. What was your favorite part? It was just like, what just happened? And it was kind of cool to have that feeling.
That nobody was expecting Jon Moxley to win that? Or was it just like the match itself was crazy? Or
the match was crazy, but just the way it ended and just what occurred where Jon Moxley's crew, BCC, just beat down on everyone and just drew a line in the sand. Plus it's Bryan Danielson's final match or final match of full time. He's going to retire now and go have neck surgery. And it was just like, we were so invested in the match. We're just doing the yes chants all throughout the match. And then all of a sudden it just took the air out of the arena. And
Wow.
And like I said, never have felt that. But we had a great triple threat match between Ospreay, Ricochet, and Takeshita, and that match was incredible. It was a good night of wrestling, but just to have that feeling at the end of the show was just like, wow.
So was that like you're saying that, but was it a good thing, or was it?
It
like,
is a good thing.
It is a good thing
because
did you know going into that night that was Daniel Bryanson, Daniel Bryan.
Brian Danielson.
Brian, got it confused between which company.
Yeah.
Brian Danielson's last match already. Like, did you know that? And then after Wrestle Dream, like, did you already know that he was then going to go part time?
He made it clear that if he lost the championship, he was gonna retire essentially from full time. So we knew any chance he was gonna lose, it was gonna be that chance of
okay, but it was just him saying that like when he loses the championship is when that will happen.
Yeah. So the match finished on like Gunther does. Like it was just a choke out, and it wasn't. He didn't tap. It was just a.
Okay.
He was still kind of even moving, which kind of confused us. Was like
gotcha.
The ref didn't raise his arm and let it fall. He just called off the match, and then
so that is kind of an anticlimactic way to finish it. At least with like the Gunther finish, it's been you get the arm raise, which is like the final. That's like it drops and then they call it because the person's out. Right?
Yeah,
but
exactly.
If you didn't even get that. That is kind of a little bit of a letdown, sort of.
Kind of, yeah. At the time, I mean, looking back on it, I think AEW is trying to do something, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah. So Jon Moxley is now the AEW World Champ then? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was crazy. They like threw it in a bag. Like he didn't celebrate one bit. He threw the championship and then proceeded to beat down and it was crazy.
You say threw it in a bag?
Yeah, threw it in a bag. Like
just put it in a bag and then just started whooping ass.
And whooping ass. Yeah, exactly.
So not only did Bryan Danielson lose the championship, but then he got beat down after.
Oh yeah, it was I don't know if you watched All Out, but it was Bryan Danielson plastic bag over the head and choking out, and then the rest of the AEW roster, the good guys, came down to try to rescue him, and they got beat down, and the closing shot is just like the young AEW guys, so Darby and who's the other one? Hook. They're all just like looking up in the ring, like in shock and stuff. It was a cool closing shot. And I've seen it on TV. Like I've seen plenty of Raws and pay-per-views end like, what the hell just happened kind of thing. Just never witnessed it live.
Yeah.
And that it was cool. And going out the arena, everyone was quiet. It wasn't like this raucous leaving. It was just like, what the hell? And it was crazy. It was crazy.
Yeah, that is a weird kind of environment to then be walking out, because we've now walked out together of multiple live shows.
Yes, exactly.
And, that is crazy.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
You went hunting, man.
Yeah, dude.
That's why we missed you last week. So
that's why Justin was on, was because I was up in the woods over on the east side of Washington State. And yeah, man, got to go for my first time hunting with my brother Nathan, who was on the show 2 weeks ago, which was also his first time hunting. And then our oldest brother, Jason, and then like probably one of our closest family friends, just like across all three of us, is Nick,
who developed our
intro song. Yeah, so a lot of connections there. But yeah, Nick and Jason have been best friends since they were in like 6th grade or something like that. They're now not to throw you guys under the bus, but approaching 40. I think that's like 37, 38 right now, somewhere in there.
I helped them through Spanish class.
Yeah, exactly. Tim helped them graduate high school. They would tell you that too.
Yes, 100%.
But yeah, so it was fun, just the four of us, like Nick's one of my brothers, as you are, and so it was just cool to be up there with the four of us. They were kind of showing us the ropes of what they do. We were deer hunting, but in the area that we go, like Jason and Nick got the full big game like package, which is like bear tag, cougar tag, deer tag, because all three of those seasons are now or when we were up there. But it was like going into it, like Jason and Nick had said, like they've been coming up in that Natchez area this was their 9th year, and they've never seen a bear up there.
Oh wow!
They've seen cougar, they've seen wolf, coyotes are abundant, deer, elk, all sorts of small game, but they've never seen bear, and so like they had all three, so technically they are hunting for all three. But we were primarily up there for deer, but realistically, we're up there for them to scout elk season. Because the deer population up there is not hugely abundant. We saw a bunch of does. We saw, and it could have been the same does we were seeing each day. Like, honestly, we don't know. But like we saw, probably 2 to 4 does a day almost while we were up there over the 4 days me and Nathan were there. And then Jason and Nick came home the following day. And we saw tons of elk sign, had a little interaction in the woods with like 3 elk, which was cool. Didn't see them, but it was just like hearing them. They were kind of like I was kind of surrounded by them on like an old logging road, and there was like one down here, one in front of me, and one over here. And all I could hear was like the crunching and like they're snorting. 'Cause like Jason and Nick are doing their deer and elk calls and stuff, and so it was just a cool experience. And cool thing, probably the coolest thing while we were up there was all 4 of us together up there for the first time, and we saw a bear.
Oh wow!
Yeah, we saw not technically shootable. It was a mom and 2 cubs, and so it's not illegal per se, but it's like highly frowned upon, right? Because it's like killing a mom and 2 cubs is no way to help the bear population continue to thrive, right? So understandably, it's not technically illegal, but it's like honestly probably should be. But it was just cool. And plus where we were at when we saw them, we were like 800 yards away. So it was like none of us are half that shot anyways.
Yeah.
So, but it was just cool because it was like they had never seen bear. They had literally just told me and Nathan that when we got up there Saturday. And then this was Sunday. It was the next day. We're out glassing an area. And so we're just sitting on a hillside looking across the drainage in the little valley to the other hillside across from us. Just kind of what you do for part of the time is you just kind of sit there for, 2-3 hours and you're just scanning a full landscape essentially just to like wait till you see movement.
Gotcha.
And then if you see movement that's like legal, like if we were to see a 3-point buck or whatever, then it's kind of like, all right, now make a game plan to get over there and go start stalking, But yeah, so we saw the bear. Nick's the one that like saw it there. He was like, something's moving over there. It's big and black. And we were like, what? And he goes, that's a bear. I see a bear. It's kind of like losing our shit, because especially them, because they'd been up there for so long. They'd never seen it, seen bear up there. They've seen bear tracks, bear poop, bear sign. Never actually seen a bear though. So it was cool and just the way they traversed the landscape was just like truly just like majestic, because they're like elegantly clumsy. Yeah, it's kind of how I've done it, because like just the way they move, you look and you're like, they should be making so much noise. Just the way they're like, you're watching bear cubs like belly roll over logs and stuff.
Yeah,
but like if you were up close to it, you probably wouldn't even fucking hear it because they're so quiet.
That's so
like,
crazy.
But they're big and heavy, but like they make very little noise when they move through the woods. So it's just like, it's really cool. Where like elk Jason was telling us that elk are like called like the white ghost, because they're like very like light gray fur and stuff, and they'll literally just like be there and then they'll be gone type of thing, because like they're gigantic. So it's like you might hear them, but you might never see them.
That's crazy.
Type of thing. And that's exactly what we experienced that Monday night, that last night that we were up there, was like, we heard like there were 3, like I said, pretty much surrounding me. One on either side of the road, and then one just off to the side of the road a little farther down from me. And I could hear all 3 of them, but I never saw any of them.
Crazy.
It was crazy. So it was just cool. It was a really fun experience. Got me excited to do it again next year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm now like making lists of like things that I need hunting gear wise and stuff that I want to get, and I'd love to, you know, get further into it and keep doing it. So
Nice.
yeah, man.
Did you? I gotta ask, you know, because we talk about Blockbusters. You talked about bringing long legs. Did that happen?
Not. So
Oh, okay.
I didn't do that. I wanted to, and I had originally planned to. I was actually going to ask you if I could borrow the movie, but Jason said that like his TV set up in the camper, like he only has like 2 speakers that the TV's connected to or whatever, and like one of them's shot and the other one's kind of distorted. So he was he's like, you could bring it and like we could try, but he's like, it's not going to do it justice. And I was like, I'm not. That movie you can't do not like knowingly not do justice to. So I was like, you got to have the full experience. So I was just like, nah, we won't. And we didn't spend like any time outside of sleeping in the camper anyways.
Gotcha.
We were outside around the fire and hanging out like that. So I mean, we weren't getting back to camp until nightfall.
Oh wow!
Every night, anyways. So you know, it was probably like last shooting light was like right before 7 each night. Because that was like when the sun was going down, and then it was, you know, anywhere from another half hour to an hour to get back to camp. So and then we'd get back, we'd eat a late dinner, sit around the fire, hang out for a few, and then it's like, all right, well, we're fucking trying to get up at 5:45, 6 o'clock in the morning. Let's go to bed. You know. So
last question about it: was there a lot of people there, or like is it pretty like everyone's off in their own areas?
So it's kind of crazy, and it's like it's not what I expected, while also being what I expected all at the same time. And I'll explain what I mean by that. Ton of people camping up there, and like all the different, because there's sites all around like where we were camped. You know, we can see people down here, we can see people down there. But mainly when we're driving, like when we're just sitting at camp, you couldn't really look one way or the other and see people, which is cool. But it's also like you're driving around, because a lot of what we were doing was also driving and just like scouting areas and stuff, and passing a ton of people, seeing, you know, like most campsites up there have people camped at them. But while we were like actually out, I think there was only 1, maybe 2 times throughout all 4 days where we like actually saw other people in the woods.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So it was like literally it was like it was the very first night, Saturday night, we were glassing this one area, and glassing is literally just like I said, you're just sitting and scanning a landscape. And so we're like glassing this one area, and I didn't even see him because I was looking at another direction. But Nathan and Jason said that there was a dude like, you know, probably a couple 100 yards down across the drainage across from us. And then the day we saw the bear, I had walked back up to camp, because where we saw that was just like we were camped up here, and then, you know, a few 100 yards back behind camp, we were able to just walk down and then sit on a hillside and get a good look around us. So I had walked back up to camp to change, because I was where it was like we went out in the morning. It was kind of chilly. I was wearing my thermals and everything. And then I was like,
it's getting warm.
I'm way too fucking hot. Like, I got to go take this off. So I walked back up, came back down. And as I was coming back down, I saw 2 other guys walk up from a different road. And then they kind of crossed over and went this other, like, kind of away from us.
Yeah.
But that was literally the only people that we saw while we were actually out. Like, while we were out in the woods walking or glassing or anything. Other than that, like, we were, you know, constantly passing people on the roads while we're driving. But yeah, so it was interesting, because I'm like, in my mind, I was like, I feel like you would always see people up like anywhere you're going, because it's like, it's hunting season.
Yeah.
So you'd expect a ton of people are out trying to hunt. Makes sense. But then it was also like, you would also kind of assume that you might not see anybody, because you're trying to pick places where there's not a ton of people.
Exactly.
But it was like, we got a mix of it. It was like, we picked a place where we saw a ton of people driving and at camps, but like almost never saw anybody actually out hunting. Like, it was interesting.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I figured, because I went to Ellensburg on Thursday for work, and saw everyone going over the pass, and you could tell they're going for hunting. And when I went to Cleon Safeway, they're like, you can't take our product because of hunters, you know, coming through. And so I figured you would see like a lot of people, but That's crazy.
Yeah, like I said, saw a lot, just not out actively like doing like the same thing we were doing.
Yeah.
So it's it was
Cool.
It was
So
cool.
you're going again next year, it sounds like?
Yes, yeah,
Nice.
that's my plan. I want to go. Lindsay's dad wants me to go with him at some point as well. They have property out in Idaho, and like her dad and her stepbrother, like her stepbrother got 2 deer and her dad got 1.
Nice.
So I'll probably, I don't know, I would love to next year do that. It's just kind of the time and daughter and
All
work and everything kind of comes into play. So if I go back up with Jason and Nick and Nathan, we are all talked like we all want to make this like now a yearly thing, like at least the 4 of us, if not get a couple other people. We want to do this regularly now. And it's a good thing for like me, Nathan, and Jason.
Yeah.
That's like we don't do anything like that as like being brothers, like we don't. So like we play video games once a week together and that's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was cool for us all to be up there, but I might go up for elk just because I feel like there's just better opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
But I gotta look at that because unfortunately elk season, both my daughter and my wife's birthdays fall 4 days apart, 3 days apart, right in the middle of elk season. So I got to figure that one out.
Your
but it would be
wallet.
like abundantly, I know, right? But abundantly, or abundancy wise, elk is kind of the better option for where we go.
Yeah.
There's other places that you can go that deer is more. You have a better chance, but
nice.
yeah, man.
Cool. Glad you had fun.
Yeah, dude, it was a good time. It was
Glad to
awesome.
have you back.
I'm glad to be back for sure.
Uh,
All right. Well, that brings us to belts. We are back. Timmy, what do you want to talk about?
dude, what do we not want to talk about?
Yeah, it was kind of a
It was
a jam-packed SmackDown. I will say that. I felt like.
Mhm.
I felt like Raw was good, but it wasn't a ton to write home about, right?
I think they're getting their footing right, going down to 2 hours.
Yeah,
And you can tell
that's definitely a change.
it's
for sure.
definitely a change for Raw. And
A change that I currently really enjoy because it makes it a hell of a lot easier to watch. Just time-wise, it makes it a lot easier to watch. A 2-hour show is way easier to fit in than a 3-hour show. But yeah, dude. All right.
First
I'll let you go first.
First thing I want to talk about is War Raiders are back.
Yeah.
The Viking Raiders previously.
Yep.
That team has a lot of history in the war. They're like War Machine was their like New Japan name, I believe, and then they came to WWE NXT as the War Raiders, and they were hot in NXT, and then got brought up to the main roster. They were called the Viking Experience, and that quickly changed to the Viking Raiders, just because of the backlash of what it was. And I mean, they fit the Viking persona pretty well.
Sure.
Like they didn't disappoint, but really the War Machine, the War Raiders is where this team thrives, and you could feel that energy when they came back.
And they still had like the ode or the nod to the Viking in like their entrant, like the Titantron video entrance said Viking something.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what it said, but it said Viking something as they were like first coming out. So,
but maybe that I got to be curious if that was just like a tease and then it went into their War Raider song, and so maybe that's gone the next week. But even if that's the only nod, I'm good for that. But just to see it's good to see them back together. They both were out with injury. They looked hot, and we were just talking about it. The tag team division needed some revamping, and I think this team really helps out.
Yeah. I agree for sure. On Raw, like we talked about a couple episodes ago, Nathan, the tag team division on Raw is, for lack of better word, subpar. Mm-hmm. It's especially now, like you have uncertainty with the New Day. Awesome Truth broke up. Other factions like the Raw tag team, the World Tag Team Championships haven't been defended, and
they've only been defended once.
and it's been once in like the 80-something days that they've held it now or whatever. So
And now they're finally getting a tournament going. But
but still, it's kind of wild. And yeah, so I think the introduction of the War Raiders is a really solid like thing to help kind of hopefully propel that and prop that up.
Yeah.
That kind of actually segues perfectly into one of the things I wanted to talk about, which was on Friday Night SmackDown. We got the debut of the Motor City Machine Guns, which we already knew was coming. You and Justin talked about it last week, but that kind of is partly why I want to talk about this, outside of the fact that like they looked great. Really good debut. But I feel like the SmackDown tag roster is pretty well built. Like they have definitely way better off than Monday Night Raw. So I almost feel like the Motor City Machine Guns would have been better off going into Raw to help prop that up with like a battle with the New Day, battle with the Judgment Day, battle with the War Raiders, Otis and Tozawa, the Creed brothers, like that type of thing. Like would have been a good intro, and it would have been a better way, I think, to help prop up the Raw tag division that is definitely lacking, where I don't feel like the SmackDown one is. But at the same time, super stoked to have the Motor City Machine Guns involved in potential storylines with Street Profits, DIY, like all the A-Town Down Under, Los... God damn it. I just watched them this morning, too. Son of a bitch. But yeah.
Los Garças.
Yeah, Los Garças. So yeah, it's just like, I'm excited for it, but I also wonder, like, is that a potential miss to help prop Raw?
I got a counterpoint,
okay.
and I
love it.
Just thought it as you were talking about it. Raw has more single stars. SmackDown, if you think about it, and what's going on there, it doesn't give a lot of time for single stars
outside of the U.S. title.
Out of the U.S. title, and we only see right now 3-4 people going towards that. So really, tag teams are able to shine on SmackDown versus Raw. In my opinion, I agree with you. I think Raw needs tag teams more. But it feels like there's more single stars on Raw versus SmackDown right now. Yeah. So it just kind of fits.
Yeah. And also, I guess, I don't know. Never mind. That wouldn't really make sense because SmackDown's always been a 2-hour show. I was going to say, maybe it also has something to do with the fact that Raw moved from 3 to 2 hours. And they they need to fit in the people that they already have that they have been fitting in over 3 hours. So I guess it does still make sense. Like SmackDown is used to only having 2 hours. Raw is kind of regathering their bearings to fit 2 hours for a short period of time, with the assumption that it's probably going to go back to 3. Or I've also read that when it does go to Netflix, that they're like, there might not be an actual like time frame. It's just going to be like one episode might be 2 hours, one episode might be 3 hours, one might be 2.5. Like
nice.
It could kind of do this, which could be good for the show too, because then it's like if a match is fucking banging and they were only supposed to have 10 minutes on network, like they could come in from the back to the ref and be like, yo, give these guys extra time. You know what I mean? Like it could be like a swerve right in the middle of the match to be like, yo, you guys are cooking, fucking keep this up. Like this is awesome, So that could be good anyways. But we're getting off track there. What else you got?
Braun Breaker. We 2 episodes were asking if he was going face. Then last week we talked about how he's spearing everyone.
He definitely did not turn face.
And then this last week I wasn't impressed with his match. I don't know what happened between Kofi and him, but it just felt slow. It felt sloppy, but his but his promo talking about Jey, and he just felt like a bad guy. It feels comfortable for him. I like his meaner than evil slogan that he's got going on. Yeah. I'm excited for the rematch, the impending rematch, or I think it actually was announced that Jey and Braun Breaker
on Monday. Yeah,
on Monday.
So rematch for the title.
I'm excited for it. Braun Breaker's got a bright future. I like the heel lane. He needs to stay in that.
Yeah, I agree 100%. the match with Kofi on Monday, I feel like it's getting, because Kofi's always been like the watch what he's going to do next, because it's going to be blow your mind type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like he's slowing down in that regard, but still trying to do it. I feel like it's not quite the same level, just because Jeff has put his body through way more than most other professional wrestlers ever have, and probably ever will in their career, outside of Darby Allin, maybe.
I think Darby
crazy.
I think Darby, in the short time he's been wrestling, has done more than everyone combined.
But yeah, I just feel like people are always, you see videos of Jeff online doing shit, and I feel like it's not fair, because you get like it's just like one clip, and then you can see other clips of him still like fucking cooking.
Mm-hmm.
But there's like one clip where like he hits the poetry in motion, and like it's kind of slow coming off Matt's back or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. Right. It's like, yeah, dude, the motherfucker's been doing it for like 30 years. And he has put his body, literally the definition of putting your body on the line for the job.
Yeah.
Every year. And he's only been actually injured like twice.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 times in his entire career for the shit that he does. Like, it's really impressive. So I feel like Kofi, to a point, is like, he's like, the shit he used to do as he's getting older, he can't still do it as smoothly or as quickly or as good. So I feel like that's kind of what kind of makes it feel slower, if that makes sense.
No, it totally does.
Because Braun definitely, obviously, is not the one making a match slower.
No.
That motherfucker is like one of the fastest dudes in the ring.
And maybe that's what it was just like, I think Kofi faces a lot of people that are slower than him. And I think it's just too fast people going at it. And maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, because I definitely got that same feel. I was like the attempted Trouble in Paradise. It felt like he was moving in slow motion through the air type of thing. And it was like, and then like the final spear where he got the win. It didn't feel like it was very impactful, because I felt like Kofi didn't move to the right spot. Like he was too close. It almost should have been Braun, like, should have recognized where Kofi was standing, and he should have hit this side first, then went there to get the full run at it.
Yeah.
But he went this side, got the full run back, but then as he came off the ropes, he essentially, like, hit the ropes and then had to go into the sphere, and it just felt not as impactful. Yeah. I felt you. I got 2 things, I'm just going to do back-to-back because they're quick.
Okay.
Well, actually, it is technically 3. It's going to bring me into... 1. The first one I want to say is really quick though. Lash Legend,
dude,
her finisher, was fucking dope. It's very quick. Don't need to spend a lot of time talking about it. I just wanted to point out that her finisher was fucking sweet, especially like hitting it on Piper Niven. Like, it was like a fucking like a torture rack carry almost into like a fucking like inverted DDT bulldog face plant crusher thing. Like, that was fucking sweet. Like, I thought that was super cool for I don't watch NXT regularly, so I'm sure like you've seen that finisher before. That was new for me. I haven't seen that, so that I was like, what the fuck? And I'm sure I'm not alone in that. Like, I'm sure there are plenty of wrestling fans who don't catch NXT regularly or might not know that much about Lash Legend.
Impress Jade and
Jakari Jackson, right?
Yeah, Jakari.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I actually had Lash on my list of things. They debuted on SmackDown last week for the tag titles, and I thought they came up really well. They shined against Bianca and Jade. Yeah, and then she followed it up with a solid match against Piper, and just showing her dominance. And she definitely shows that on NXT, but. You don't get to see stars like big as Piper, and so I thought it was great. Yeah. I'm excited for their future.
Same, for sure. I haven't seen a lot of Jakari Jackson yet outside of the match last week. She looked good in that match, but Lash Legend is like a legit threat, right? Like, I think we talked about it even, like Jakari Jackson and Lash Legend are like a perfect counter to Bianca and Jade.
Yes.
Right? Because it's like you got Jakari Jackson and Bianca are more of kind of like the, I don't know, high flyer is not the word, but they're the more like smaller, can do some more, quick movement type stuff in the ring, and then you got Lash Legend and Jade that are more like the kind of powerhouse of the tag team, which is like what you kind of are used to having for a tag team. So yeah, same. I'm excited for them. I think it's cool that they've now gotten like back-to-back weeks in matches on SmackDown. So and again, that I put it on because that finisher, I was like, that's fucking dope. Like, that is a unique finisher. I don't feel like I've ever seen that before, and maybe I have. Maybe other people have done it before, but like not the way she got Piper Niven up into it. Not like the way she got. I was like, what is she going for right now with Piper Niven? And then she hit that, and I was like, I did not see that coming. So I thought it was a really cool finisher. Like, it's something that's like actually like feels devastating as a finisher, which I don't feel like you get that often in the women's division. So
I don't want to like have them split up anytime soon, but I'm excited to see Lash go single. Like, she's going to be a big star, I think. And I can already see a match with her and Bianca tearing down the house.
Or her and Jade.
But I was going to say, once...
Because at some point, Jade and Bianca are going to split too. Yeah,
and I think Jade is coming along well now. Like, I've seen progress. And I think once she's fully there and when you finally make Lash go, I think them clashing is going to be awesome. Yeah. So,
yep, I agree. The other thing that I wanted to say that was also just a quick one, and I think it's the first time it's ever happened because I don't usually. I've been more lenient towards Nia Jax previously with her in-ring work. The last couple weeks have been a little rough. I think it was better on SmackDown last night, for sure, in that tag match. But like the SmackDown before against Naomi was rough. It was not a great match. And obviously at Bad Blood, we've covered that. It was not great either. So, but leading up to that and prior to that, we had been like me especially had been giving Nia Jax her flowers because it was like she had been doing some good stuff. Her mic work has never been something that I've been really like a fan of. Like it's more annoying to me. It reminds me actually a lot of Vicky Guerrero. You know what I mean? And where I'm just like, oh my God, she's talking again. It's so like it makes me want to rip my ears off type of thing most of the time. Her interaction with Nick Aldis last night,
golden,
legitly made me laugh out loud when was it Candice LeRae, when they walked up and that ended up being her tag team partner, and he's like, smell that? Smells like money. And she goes, that's my perfume.
I know.
That literally legitimately made me laugh out loud this morning. Like I had to catch myself because Lindsay was still sleeping and me and Lainey were out watching SmackDown, and like I was literally like, I was like, oh shit, I gotta do, because that actually like that was legit funny. Like that made me laugh. I really liked that, so I wanted to.
It was so quick. I
throw that out because it did not feel like that was like planned. It felt like she ad-libbed that, you know, like it was that type of thing where she just like, that's my perfume. It smells like money. That's me. You know, so like I thought that was really good for her character work and everything too. So that leads me into, that's the one where I said was going to lead me into one of my other things that I want to talk about was I'm really kind of torn on the women's side of Crown Jewel right now, because I don't care for the men's side. It's working out really well because both of them have essentially just finished feuds. I feel like I don't like, because I don't like the women's side right now because I feel like it's derailing the Rhea Liv feud, and like it's pulling from that, and that is, I would argue, that is probably the second best feud of the year next to CM Punk and Drew McIntyre is Liv and Rhea, and they have done nothing but absolute gold together in the ring, on the mics, interference in each other's matches, just trying to just wreak havoc on each other's lives. And now you're throwing in the Liv versus Nia, which is absolutely and utterly not believable of a match. But now you're getting Nia involved in like this whole weird situation. Now it feels like I'm not a fan of it. I wish that like they either would have ended the Liv Rhea feud, if then like knowing that Crown Jewel was going to put the champion versus champion type thing, and they're obviously building feud to make that interesting. But I wish it wouldn't be at the expense of, like I said, what I would argue is the second best storyline in the WWE this year. So
it's funny you bring it. I didn't have the women's side of it, but I can just group this up into one topic and take it off the list is the crown jewel matches. I like what they're doing with Gunther and Cody.
yeah,
It feels like a proper build. It's you're a champion, I'm a champion. We're gonna see who's best.
yeah.
I'm also kind of disappointed because Gunther versus Cody feels like a WrestleMania match, and I'm sure Crown Jewel is excited for it because I mean it has that feel to it. It feels like a WrestleMania match, which I'm excited for the match. It's gonna be a good one. Have no clue who's gonna come out on top on that one. I don't want to see either one lose, really.
I know.
Then going to your side, what you're talking about, I think this gives an easy way out where no woman is going to look weak because there's going to be interference.
Yeah, I guess that's true. There has to be.
And so I don't know who's going to win the match, but
then I also have a problem with that too, because it's like there's going to be interference.
But
is all that's going to do is, I feel like, just farther, like, say Rhea interferes and ends up costing Nia Jax.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're going to have Nia Jax pissed off. Like, it's not like it's just like, it's not just going to end at Crown Jewel, right? Mm-hmm. Then it's going to spill over. And that's what I'm like, I don't want that. I don't want, I want the Liv and Rhea shit to continue as it has been and keep going, because it's still fucking hot. It's still burning, and it's just the added Raquel Rodriguez thing into it is like adding another layer to it. We don't need Nia involved in that.
I agree. I don't know how it's going to play out, but I feel like this is going to further Tiffy and Nia developing feud, and it's going to continue to develop the Liv and Rhea side of things.
And if that's how it plays out, like the whole Crown Jewel match ends, and it ends up being like what I have thought in my head, which I would be totally fucking down for, would be, what if like somehow before it even happens, Tiffany cashes in on Nia, like at Crown Jewel before the actual match, and then it's Tiffany versus Liv, and Tiffany ends up winning, cashing in, winning the WWE Women's Championship and winning the Crown Jewel Championship, like all in the same night. That would be like a Jericho,
dude,
unification type of situation, right? Like
that would be crazy.
That would be wild. So like, there's certain ways that they can play it where I would be like super cool with it, but I just feel like the storyline between Liv and Rhea has been derailed slightly over now the last 2 weeks, due to the fact that they're like specifically now trying to build a little bit of tension and feud between Liv and Nia.
Yeah.
Right. So
okay, I mean, I gotta just say, I don't feel like there's a lot of drama between Liv and Nia right now. I don't.
But they've both interfered in each other's shit now for the last 2 weeks.
Agreed, but it's been really. I mean, Nia's side is a little weaker. She's not really feuding with anyone, but Rhea's trying to get to Liv, and it's coming at Rhea's expense. Like Nia knocked Rhea out and everything. So I still see it going in the right direction, and I think they're going to play the cards right at Crown Jewel.
I hope so.
To go both ways.
I hope so.
I really like your idea.
I think my idea with Tiffany Stratton, it would be the perfect way for her to just get on top fully.
Yeah.
And like I said, it would be like a new age, gender swapped Chris Jericho type, winning both titles in the same night type idea. Right? Yeah. Like she could win the WWE Women's and then win Crown Jewel and completely just like wipe Nia off and rub it in her face, and you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that would be kind of a cool way to do it, and then that would then start the SmackDown feud that we would need then too between Nia and Tiffany.
I agree.
So
I think that would kind of rank up there with Seth Rollins' cash in at WrestleMania. I think that would rank in one of the top. So
yeah,
Yeah.
All right. I only got one thing left that I want to talk about. So what else do you got?
I got one thing before I feel like we're gonna have the same topic. So
Probably.
and it's just kind of building off of what we were just talking about, but the whole end of Raw this past week with Nia taking out Liv and having to remind Tiffy to cash in the Money in the Bank was gold. It was just like
She's like,
just
oh,
took her out.
oh yeah, she starts doing the high knees. oh yeah, that's right.
I was just like, come on.
But then in that entire ordeal is what then led to Dom being able to save Liv,
Yeah.
which obviously I feel like is just like you've said, continuing to drive that wedge between Nia and Tiffany because they're not on the same page.
Exactly.
Like Nia's expecting her to like take that to cash in on Liv. To probably, I would assume, her end game here would be like Tiffany catches it on Liv before Crown Jewel and expects Tiffany just to lay down and let her win the first Crown Jewel championship.
Oh,
Right, like that. I feel like that's Nia's expectation, and that they clearly they're off beat here. So yeah, no, I liked that a lot.
Yeah.
That was Tiffany Stratton is fucking great.
She is.
She's really good at just the character she plays, doing all of like the. Like what we just said, oh my god, yeah, you're right. And then but you could tell it's like she's like playing off the accident, but it's like a purposeful wasting time, like stalling tactic, right? So yeah, for sure. Last thing, I'm assuming it's bloodline drama.
Yeah.
and I on my notes I put bloodline drama continues because it covers both shows now, right? You get Jimmy showing up on Raw to kind of confront Jey, not confront, but like try to have an interaction with him to what is the assumption of everybody is trying to pull Jey back into it. And both times Jey gave him like no time of day at all. Like the first time he literally like saw him and then turned around and walked back out of his own locker room. And then shortly later you see Jey like Jimmy looking through doors trying to find Jey, and then Jey walks out, had a little interaction, but then Jey walks away. And then on SmackDown, you get the Bloodline starting the show, the new Bloodline starting the show, and who other to come out and confront Solo is his older brother, Jey.
I was shocked.
I know, me too.
I was like, that's not how Jimmy's music
I know, that's the exact thing. I was like, ooh, so, and I was like, wait a second. Well, that's the wrong Uso. That's a wrong twin. And here comes Jey out through the crowd, confronts him, just like, yo, like, I'm not here to fight you. He says, nobody's got more problems with Roman than I do. Kind of playing the, kind of the middleman of just like, yo, like, if this is what you want, that's cool. Do it. But not the way you're doing it.
Yeah.
And I absolutely loved if he keeps looking at me like that, I'm gonna knock his ass out. And he like steps up to Jacob Fatu. I was like, fuck yeah, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. I love Jimmy in his own little world right now, just living it. And I fucking love it. But yeah, dude, then we get a little interaction between Jey and Jimmy and Roman, which I thought was interesting because the last time we saw Jey and Jimmy on Raw, there was no love. Yeah. And then as Jimmy and Jey get out of the car, as Jimmy and Roman get out, I'm getting all my names mixed up. So bloodline. So many of them.
Tonga and Tonga.
Tonga, Tama, Loa, Tonga, Doa. But yeah, as Jimmy and Roman get out of the car, you get Jey walk up, and like Jey has a smile on his face as he's looking at his brother.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, wait, what's going on right now? But then he looks at Roman, and instantly his smile wipes off. And then he just kind of turns around and goes to walk away. Roman grabs him, tells him he's, proud of him for the IC run and whatnot. And then
no
Jey... Yeah,
no
that's
yeet.
all Jey said. Jey looked at him and said, no yeet. Turned around and walked away.
Did you notice the first direction he was walking out of the arena,
and then
he turned a different direction.
Turned went the other way. Whatever. Swerved.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then and then you get interaction with Jimmy and Roman.
God, that was so funny in the locker room. Where he's like, I was just trying to relax.
You're not my wise man. I was trying to relax you. And then, yeah, he's like, I'm going to, we tried it your way. I'm going to take care of this my own way. And Jimmy, how the hell are you going to do that? Like, I love Jimmy coming back now, like just his whole thing. It's great, but we get Roman saying that he's going to acknowledge Solo.
I was like, what the hell?
I know. And then we get it. We get Roman out in the ring. Here comes Solo, and they have a little back and forth, and then Roman says, "I acknowledge you." Does that make you feel better? And Solo,
of course, not
expectedly, says, "No, that's not good enough. You got to acknowledge me as your tribal chief, or else." And then Roman kind of explodes, "Or else what?" Blah, blah, blah. And then you get, "I knew you didn't change, and I didn't change either." And you get the new bloodline dragging Jimmy all beat up out. And then a little interaction, little tussle happens.
Tussle of sorts.
Roman starts to get the upper hand, and then, lo and behold,
Bloodline and the show.
Bloodline numbers, and you get Jimmy beat down on the entrance. I really thought that before Solo hit the first spike on Roman that Jey's music was going to hit again.
Yeah.
Because he walked back into the arena.
Yeah,
he didn't walk out.
I made note of him walking. I was like, that's going to come into play later
on.
And
I thought, I really thought we were going to get it, but we didn't.
So I was disappointed at how it ended because it just felt repetitive. But I was damn, I was expecting Jey to come out and he didn't. So
there was it's a little bit more of a build, right?
Yes.
So he was there. And he essentially just let his brother and cousin get beat down.
Mm-hmm.
So,
do you think? At first, I was thinking it's a for sure thing, but now, the end of the show, I'm going. I don't see how it's going to play out. But do you think Jey getting involved now, even though he's the middleman, not technically involved yet, is this going to cost him his Intercontinental title?
I think so. And I think it's because of the interaction with him and the new bloodline in the ring to start.
Yeah.
Because Solo laid it out perfectly clear that he always has room for his brother, but all he has to do is acknowledge him. And Jey clearly did not do that. Yeah. He said yeet and walked out.
Do you think
it's
as soon as Monday Night Raw?
I think it's as soon as Monday Night Raw, the new bloodline somehow gets involved, fucks Jey out of the IC, and then that leaves Jey no choice but to back his brother and his cousin.
Yeah.
I think I don't know how else you could play this out to get Jey back involved. It's so perfectly laid out for that to happen now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I think.
That's what I was thinking too.
I feel like that's the only way you can drag Jey back into this right now.
Yeah,
is that his younger brother fucks him over, and now he feels like he has no choice but to end him.
Yeah,
and the only way to do that is to,
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I'm pumped about it just because it's leading to War Games. Yep. It's got to be leading to War Games.
Leading to War Games, and we will be there. Yes, I agree 100%. So,
but that's what I got to talk about.
That's what I had too. That brings us to Banger of the Week, dog.
My Banger of the Week is not it's not a match. It's we just kind of talked about it, but again, Triple H is listening to us. I feel like, but we've been hard on the tag team division, and this week felt like a shot in the arm for the tag team division. We got the War Raiders coming back. Mm-hmm. We got a tournament finally for the Raw tag
on both sides.
On both, we got championship implications on both shows. Mm-hmm. We got the Motor City Machine Gun. Sorry. They felt big, the entrance was epic. Yeah. I like their intro to the show, and so it just feels like we're getting a shot in the arm for the tag division this week. So
for sure,
that's my banger.
My banger of the week is I'm just gonna sum it up with just the video production of WWE, because we've gotten some crazy dope cinematic moments, Roman and Cody at the Georgia Tech Stadium, right?
Mm-hmm.
All of the Chelsea Green ones leading up to the dumpster match, right? Like we've gotten a lot of different cinematic type promos and stuff. The camera work for the intros to championship matches, all of that type of stuff that has been felt new and felt fresh. It kind of put a new spin on things. But then we got KO's just in his car, like literally just looked like it was like him filming himself on his phone.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just a change up. And I liked that a lot. Like they could have had a full camera crew set up in the car to do that, but it was literally like him just filming himself saying all of this.
Yeah.
So for me, that was like they're doing it, like they're putting on full fucking production for storylines and everything that we've never really seen before. I don't feel like, because I feel like it's always been, you know, it's just kind of like, this is how it's done.
Mm-hmm.
This is how we do it. And now it's like, we're getting shit. Like the cinematic stuff, we're getting the following Jey and Sammy through from the back for their entrances coming out of the crowd, right? We're getting cameras, literally a cameraman sprinting up steps, following performers out into the fucking crowd and back into the concessions area while shit's happening. And like we're doing like promo cuts, like promo follows from the end of a promo into the beginning of somebody's entrance type.
Yeah.
We're getting so much just great.
I still think about the Logan Paul 360 view before
yeah,
he jumped
dude,
to
like that. So many things that like I'm forgetting some of them, right? Like I totally fucking forgot about that. And that was like one of the coolest things camera work wise. Like I don't know if that was a drone or just something that had attached, whatever it was. It was so fucking cool. And it's just stuff, it's just adding that much more to just the experience of being a fan of wrestling and watching it, because you don't know now what to expect from the camera work. Yeah. And it's such an underrated part of the whole show, but it's what makes the fucking show go, you know? Yeah. So yeah, that's my banger of the week. It was just the production value of the shows now and what we got going on.
I love it. I definitely think that's been adding a lot to the freshness of the product for sure. So sweet.
All right, dude. We got our belts question of the week. I posed it. We got two actually. I added one this morning that it just doesn't necessarily need to be a lot of time, but I just thought it would be interesting to talk about. But the first one is, we've been given flowers to the women's division. I feel like more than we ever have, or outside of like the women's revolution point in where you know it was Sasha, Bayley, Becky, Charlotte. Yeah. Outside of that moment, like it was never in the history really ever necessarily deserved for us to be giving the flowers. And it's not necessarily on the women, was on the creative and them not using the women like they should have been. And I mean, there was a long point in time where it was the Divas division. Yeah. Right. And it wasn't the women's division. They weren't all superstars. There were superstars and then there were divas, right? So knowing all of that and kind of knowing the history of that, I wanted to just talk about, who do you think is the top female wrestler from each era? All right. And again, to refresh the eras, we have the Golden Era, the New Gen Era, the Attitude Era, the Ruthless Aggression, PG, Reality, New, and now we have the current Triple H era. That, like I said, I don't know if this is accurate or not, but I read that like Cody Rhodes dubbed the current era the Renaissance era. Okay. I don't know if that's accurate. I don't know if that's like an actual thing that's going to go down in the history logs, but I'm just kind of calling it the Triple H era right now. Yeah. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8 eras. We're talking top performer, top female wrestler of each of those eras. And we'll just bounce back and forth for each era. And I'll let you go first. What do you got for the Golden Era?
Golden Era, I really don't know very well. So I had to do some research. But when I saw the names that were in there, I have to go Fabulous Moolah on the Golden Era. I mean, yeah, I think her name is synonymous with the women's wrestling. So
yeah, I mean. Yeah, and I went the same. I feel like it's a no-brainer. It's Fabulous Moolah. I feel like the only other way you could have gone was potentially Mae Young, but Fabulous Moolah was like there's, so again, separate the person from the business, right? Because there's a lot of really questionable shit that she was doing to the female performers that she was also helping breed through the company. But I mean, she helped like develop pretty much all of the female talent in the WWF at that time across the golden era and then the new gen era. So not all of them, but a good portion of them, where it came through her, like, I forget what they called it, but it was like her own kind of boot camp type thing. And like they were living with her, like she like housed them, but she was also, there was a lot of questionable shit going on behind the scenes in that as well. But outside of that, like we've said, and we've always tried to do, is separate the human from the art, and we're talking about the art. So yeah, I had Fabulous Moolah as well.
Okay.
New gen?
I went with Sable.
Okay.
Sable, it turned in, like, it definitely started feeding into the Attitude Era. And it's just because that's kind of when I started first watching wrestling, is right between the New Gen Attitude Era time. And Sable is like the first woman wrestler I think of, and she was the main attraction pretty much during the show. So
yeah, all right. I went with our newest inductee into the WWE Hall of Fame for the women's division. That was Bull Nakano. Just purely based off like in-ring work and performer in the ring. Like, I mean, she just got inducted for a reason. You know what I mean? Like, her in-ring work was phenomenal. She was just a great performer. Her character was great. She had the flash. She kind of had it all. It was a whole package for a female wrestler, especially at that time in the early 90s, where, again, for, realistically, the entirety up until kind of Lita and Trish put women's actual wrestling on the map was really kind of just disrespected.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So Bull Nakano was a shining light in that moment. Attitude Era?
I went with Trish Stratus. She blended the sexiness, and in-ring work, and it didn't start off that way, but she's like the face of the women's division during that time, and deservedly so. She's phenomenal. She can still go to this day, So Trish Stratus.
I went with her essentially synonymous counterpart, Lita.
Yeah.
So, and again,
it was a tough choice for me.
Yeah, and same. Like, I was like Trish, Lita, but again, I was trying to look at it on the side of like in-ring work and ability, and I do think Lita outshines Trish at that point, at least. Maybe not now. Like, Trish can still come back and put on a fucking banger of a match, as she showed last year with the cage match, or earlier this year, I think that was, with the cage match against Becky. But Lita was, again, very similar to what you said, blending sexiness with in-ring ability. Lita blended like a grudgy, edgy sexiness, right? Like, she had and it was at the time, right? She had the baggy pants with the fucking G-string hanging up out. It was just like, what is going on? But it was also like, all right, like we're not against it. And it was a part of the Team Extreme Hardys. Like, one of the hottest storylines of that time frame was the Hardys, Christian and Edge, and the Dudley Boys, and she was a huge part of that whole feud. And I was like, when I think of that time frame in the women's division, it's those two. It's Trish and Lita. And again, like I said, I felt like, for me, I think Lita had the edge in the ring.
I will also say, outside of China, Lita, I feel like, can go to toe with any guy in the ring. Yeah,
like, and I think a lot of that was like, maybe not physicality, but just she was fearless. She didn't give a shit. Like, she'd get in the ring and she'd smack Bubba Ray Dudley before taking a fucking 3D through a table, right? And she took so much fucking just brutal shit. Like, like, you're just like, oh my god, she just got Bubba bombed through a fucking table, like to the outside of the ring type of thing. You're like, oh my lord. Yeah. So yeah, that's who I went with. Attitude. Ruthless Aggression.
I went with Victoria.
Okay.
She I think came on towards the end of the Attitude, but really this is when I felt like the women's division was going in a steep decline.
Yes, for sure.
You still had familiar faces like Trish Stratus and everything, but I think Victoria was one of those stars to like, hey, I can go in the ring, and she did. So, and she had a good like just character in WWE.
For sure.
So,
Agreed.
Victoria is who I went with. That
I went Gail Kim.
Oh, that's a great one.
Again, Gail Kim and Victoria had some really good fucking feuds, really good matches. So kind of, I mean, I don't want to like put them up there with that, but it's kind of like the ruthless aggression, Trish and Lita, like
almost
to a point, right? And so it's funny that you went one, I went the other again. I went Gail Kim on it. She was just really good in the ring, and I feel like there wasn't a ton of times where there were things that happened with her in the ring where it made you scratch your head. Yeah. And same with Victoria, right? Yeah. It was like they were both really, hell yeah. They were both solid workers, you know?
For sure.
So,
for sure.
That brings us to PG.
PG, I went with AJ Lee.
Same.
She just, again, this is probably one of the lowest points. It's the Divas era, and AJ went against the grain and kind of brought us back to the Lita days and everything. And she, again, fits in with the guys and could go toe to toe just off of character wise and everything.
You think of like some of the best storylines of that era involved AJ Lee
for sure,
right? Like the Kane angle on everything, the
Dolph Ziggler.
Thank you. The Dolph Ziggler, and there's like so many different moments involved her, and her just like her character and like her in-ring work was really good too. Like she could do all of it in the ring. Very rarely, again, I feel like for the most part, did you feel there was sloppiness and stuff? Like I felt like she was pretty well rounded in the ring, but her character on this side of it is what I was like. It was the brightest spot of the women's division at that time. Was her ability to fucking make you hate her was arguably one of the best in the history of the business for the women's division.
And just like the women's division during that time really bought into the diva side of like it felt very diva. All the characters were, and AJ was not that, and it was just like, and it made for fun storylines during that time, and
for sure,
it got me invested into the division again.
Yeah, that brings us to the reality era, which may have been the lowest of lows for the.
I would say this is on the rise. Actually,
oh, you think this is the rise?
I'm thinking
because I feel like the reality era kind of it was. I would agree with you that it was. It may have blended the like rock bottom with the elevation.
Yes.
Because I feel like this was where you kind of started to have the future stars being developed in NXT. But you also, I feel like the reality era was the epitome of the divas. If that makes sense, character-wise at least. So that was kind of that was just where I was thinking of it.
Yeah.
But anyways.
I went with Asuka, and she did most of the reality era. She was actually in NXT. She's just incredible in the ring. She went on a Goldberg tear where she was undefeated, longest reigning NXT Women's Champion.
Yeah.
It was a hard choice because also this is the time when we had Bayley versus Sasha in NXT, which was incredible matches.
Yeah.
But Asuka was just like, she could go in the ring. She got this aura around her and gave like this beacon of hope towards the main roster. So
okay. I didn't put parameters around it, but for my own personal self when I was going through this, I was only really looking at the main roster. I didn't really look at NXT because of, I guess for me, it was more of the kind of just the fact that NXT is the developmental brand.
Yeah.
So I was just looking at the main roster. So in that, I went with the Bellas.
Okay, yeah.
Because, I mean, they were in most of the main storylines. They weren't, terrible in the ring. They were probably some of the brighter moments in the ring. during that time, and
they definitely
a lot of storylines involved them over the course of that period of time.
for sure, and they definitely fit in well with the divas, but quickly
We're
adjusted
we're also
into the
on
women's division.
in the ring side of it
Yeah.
too. Yeah, but they also kind of helped spearhead the reality era of total
100%.
Bellas and total diva. You know what I mean? So it was like that
I think
whole
that got a lot of people into wrestling. A lot of women into wrestling. Was
for
the
sure.
Bellas for sure.
One of the first things I learned about my wife was that her and her sister flew to Arizona to watch the Royal Rumble, and I think it was 2018 or whatever, because the Bellas were there, and she was dressed as one of the Bellas.
That's awesome.
So, like, yeah, I would 100% agree with you, because my wife is in no way, shape, or form, like, I would call her a wrestling fan, but, like, there's certain points and parts to it that she enjoys. You know? So, and the Bellas were a huge pull for her. So,
nice.
Yeah.
All right.
That brings us to the new era. Not to be confused with the hat brand.
So I went with Io Sky. Io Sky is phenomenal in the ring. I kind of with my choices, I did a little blend of who's the best in the ring, who's the best character during the time, and I gotta put Io Sky at the top. She's just flawless in the ring. Like there's no mishaps. Like it just. And then she does these like death-defying moves. It kind of brings you back to Lita doing these moonsaults off things, and Io Sky fits that for me.
All right, I went with Becky.
Yeah,
like that's. I feel like that's like an easy go-to. She's
it's
one of the four horsewomen of the women's revolution, and this was also like kind of in the middle of the new era because it was 2016 to just recently, right? Yeah. That was when The Man, like her character of Becky Lynch, The Man, happened.
Yeah.
Which was arguably one of like the best storylines. It was like a straight up Stone Cold Steve Austin type run.
100%.
Which we've never seen that type of thing before from the women's
Nia
division.
To thank for that.
Yeah.
She busted up Becky real good, and that really triggered off The Man.
But and it was supposed to be, it was another type of moment with as with like Stone Cold and Bret Hart, where like the when that happened, like when that turn happened, the match that she won, where that all started, was supposed to be her winning in kind of a heel turn, and it was supposed to not be celebrated, and it was celebrated by the fans, and they loved it, and then that's kind of what they kind of ran with it. So yeah, I feel like that was like to me, Becky Lynch, The Man, there's not very many other women's characters that I thought were as fucking badass or dope as that character. Because it was, and just the way she fucking carried herself, she did it so charismatically and just so well that it was kind of a defining moment in that era, I feel like. So
it's a good choice. Real good choice.
And then current Triple H era.
I feel like we're going to be the same on this one. I got to go with Tiffany Stratton.
Oh, no, we are not the same.
Oh, okay.
We're not the same.
Tiffany Stratton is.
I like that.
Is new, and she's coming up during this time, and she's great in the ring. She's got this great character. Love her or hate her, she's got you feeling some way on the show, and I just, again, it kind of brings me back to Asuka, where I was excited for her as a prospect coming up, and Tiffany fits that bill. I'm really excited for how this cash-in is going to work, because she's going to be a great women's champion. So that's what I go in with.
All right. And, time will tell. And in, 3, 7, 10 years from now, whenever we're in a new era and we're looking back on this current era, like that may be like,
we're very early in.
There may be no other option but Tiffany Stratton, just because we are very early in her character development and everything. And that's why I didn't go that way, I guess, is because I feel like since even slightly before Triple H took over and through Triple H's full current run right now, the face of the whole entire, both brands, everything women's division is Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
And so that's who I went with, because I also don't know that there is a wrestler, like women's division wrestler in the history of the company that could lace Rhea's boots in the ring.
Yeah,
she is one of the best to ever do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's all very rarely, and it's typically not her fault if something is botched. You know what I mean? Like, it's like most everything she does in the ring is flawless. It's just, she can make anything look good. She can make anybody look good. She sells finishers, like we've talked about, like no one else in the fucking company knows how to sell Oblivion but Rhea Ripley.
That's true.
Like,
that's true.
So, like, she's the only one that can fucking take the move right, like, which is part of why we don't like the move. But when she hits it on Rhea, it looks fucking gold, you know. And I just, like, she is so damn good, man. And ever since she beat Charlotte at WrestleMania, it's just been, she's been on top. Even when she's not on top, she's still on top, right? Like, she was injured, she was still on top. Like, there's not many people that you could fucking say that about.
I agree with you.
When she was out, she was still there. Like, she was her. You could feel her presence. You could feel everything. And yeah, so I went with Rhea on it.
I like that. I like that.
All right, awesome. Covered the generations of women's wrestlers there, and now we're moving on to the second question of the week for belts, which is, I read an article, I think it was earlier this morning, and which is why I added this to it, that were just like 6 potential debuts at Crown Jewel. Like, if there were to be debuts at Crown Jewel, these are 6 that we'd like to see. And 2 of them I agreed with, and I took them from the article. That's what I have as my answers here. But I wanted to pose that same question to you. It was just like, if there were to be a debut at Crown Jewel, to like WWE debut or the main roster debut, whatever it is, just a debut at Crown Jewel, who would you like to see? Give me 2.
Can it be a re-debut or?
Sure.
All right.
Whatever.
All right. Well, it was hinted on Raw twice. Beast was brought up twice. Seth Rollins. No. Brock Lesnar.
The Beast Incarnate.
The Beast Incarnate.
Gotcha.
Brock Lesnar was hinted.
Oh, yeah. Because Rollins talked about how he'd slayed a beast.
And Cody did.
Right. And Cody said that too. Yeah.
It was just weird that it got brought up twice in one night.
That is true.
I don't know.
I didn't even fucking put that together. That's a good catch. I literally, that didn't even cross my mind when they were talking about, either of them said that. That's crazy.
I don't know if that's hinting towards something or if personal outside issues are resolved, but I could see Brock Lesnar coming back.
Okay. All right. My first one is Obafemi.
I love this guy.
He just lost the title to Tony D'Angelo. Yes, there's a rematch the Sunday before Crown Jewel at Halloween Havoc. Essentially, that article that I read had both Obafemi and Tony D'Angelo. Whoever like loses that match could potentially make their main roster debut at Crown Jewel, right? I think Obafemi is like instant megastar.
Oh, I agree. I compared him to Brock Lesnar on last week's episode.
He has the in-ring ability exponentially. He has the character. He's charismatic. He, like, his persona is everything about what he has going on. And with that, is the longest North American reign, right? It would be like the perfect kind of stepping stone to like let him come. Where would that happen on the show? I have no idea. Would not be able to tell you, but it would just be like, dude, get him on the main roster because he deserves that.
He got an aura around him too. Yeah, and I agree. I like that idea. Second one, and we might agree on this one, but the bloodline. There's got to be some bloodline drama going down at Crown Jewel. So you've talked about him previously on the show. I'm going to butcher his name. but Hikuleo or
Hikuleo.
something.
Yes.
Is the other person
That's
I can
mine as
foresee.
well. You're right. We are on the same page with that. In what way?
In behalf of Roman and what I presume is the Usos, to evening out the odds 4-4.
Okay. I think it's the other way.
Oh.
I think because he is not of the Anawai family. He is not of the actual bloodline. He is Tongaloa's brother, Tama's adoptive brother.
Oh, okay.
So I feel like we might be getting that. And the reason I feel like that is because of how Solo talked on last night's SmackDown, is that he made the family bigger and better and like all of that. I'm wondering if like we're going to end up with some form of crown jewel interaction between the bloodlines, and that's just going to kind of add fuel to the fire of like Jimmy and Roman need help.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that might be the way they go about it, is now you not only have the Tongans, you have the Samoan Werewolf, you have Solo, but now you also have Hikuleo.
That's
now you got 5-on-2, and now it's like you're building towards War Games.
Yeah.
With a 5-on-5 War Games match, but you're also like really just reaffirming you guys need help in this situation. Where do you go for that? I don't know, but
so you bring in Jey. You bring in The Rock,
maybe Zilla,
and then
Zilla makes sense.
Yeah,
he's Umaga's son. It would also make sense because he's Umaga's son, and Solo stole his entire fucking everything, kind of, right? Like,
yeah,
the move, all of it. So I don't know. It's interesting. It's good. I feel like it's so great just because like this has been so fucking long, but we're still so goddamn invested in it.
Exactly.
Like, fuck. Like, how are they so good at this?
Exactly.
All right. Sweet, dude. That brings us to Blockbusters. We got a handful of things to talk about today. Very first one, we're talking about The Monkey. Mm-hmm. We'll talk synopsis first. The synopsis of this is: after stumbling upon their father's vintage toy monkey in the attic, twin brothers Hal and Bill witness a string of horrifying deaths unfolding around them. In an attempt to leave the haunting behind, the brothers opt to discard the monkey and pursue separate paths over time. However, when the inexplicable deaths resurface, the brothers are compelled to reconcile and embark on a mission to permanently eliminate the cursed toy. This movie stars Theo James as the twin brothers Hal and Bill. It also stars Tatiana Maslany, who we also have a connection with through She-Hulk in the MCU, and Elijah Wood, who famously played Frodo in The Lord of the Rings. The source material of this, and I think this is actually really interesting, I would argue now at this point, after some of the transpirings over the last couple months for us, are like 3 of the kings of horror, almost. And that's the source material comes from a Stephen King book. It's a short story, actually, from 1980 called The Monkey. So Stephen King, probably the king of horror,
the king of horror,
like the god of horror. Honestly, he is fantastic, and everything he does has pretty much been amazing. James Wan is producing
Conjuring Universe,
among multiple other things. I think he's produced so many things, been a part of so many horror films, and not even just horror films, but other stuff as well. And this movie is being directed by Oz Perkins, who just over summer had probably what's going to go down as the year's best horror movie in Longlegs, what we talked about on the show as well. So, directed by Oz Perkins, produced by James Wan, based off of a short story written by Stephen King. Yeah, fuck me. Dude, it's going to be great. It releases February 21st, 2025, and there was actually an interesting, which I think the trailer kind of alluded to this, Excuse me. But there was an interesting quote from Elijah Wood, actually, in an interview about this, that said that Perkins has essentially created this beautiful dark comedy.
Okay.
And I think, like I said, I think the trailer, if you watched it, does kind of allude to the fact that it isn't just your straightforward horror movie, but there are some other elements to it as well. So
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting, and I'm after watching the trailer, I'm really excited for this. So
Yeah, after seeing the trailer, I did not know this was turning into a movie, but just you got the creepy monkey toy, like it pops up in a lot of horror movies.
Yeah.
It's got the symbols. Yeah, it just looks like off the wall crazy movie just off of the clips in the trailer. So
yeah,
really excited for this one.
for sure. That brings us to The Day of the Jackal. This is a show coming out on Peacock. The synopsis for it is: the Jackal is an elusive assassin who makes his living carrying out hits for the highest fee. He soon meets his match in tenacious British intelligence officer who tracks him down in a thrilling cat and mouse chase across Europe. This stars Eddie Redmayne, who has been in a ton of stuff, but I primarily know him from the Fantastic Beasts franchise.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
He played... do you remember the character's name? I can't off the top of my head.
I
He was the main character
yeah.
in the Fantastic Beasts franchise, the Harry Potter prequels. And then Lashana Lynch, who is in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
She plays Maria Rambeau,
Yep, that's right.
the mom.
Yep.
Yeah. Maria Rambeau. It's based on a book of the same name by Frederick Forsyth, and it premieres on Peacock on November 7th. The trailer, I was just like, what the fuck's going on right now? Like, I was like, all right, I gotta watch this. So that's why I was like, I gotta make the agenda because I gotta put this on there and make sure I don't forget about this. So trailer looked good. Synopsis sounds good. I like the people that are in it.
Yeah, no,
I'm here for it.
It looks really good. I wonder if it's kind of related. I don't know if the 1997 movie The Jackal is also based off that book, but
starring Bruce Willis and Jack Black
and Richard Gere.
Yeah.
But it has it definitely is eerily similar. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't know if they were related or not.
I really enjoyed that movie, and so when I saw this and started kind of connecting the dots, I'm here for it, man. I think it's going to be a good show.
Mm-hmm.
I brought up The Conjuring Last Rites. So this, there's not a lot of details on it, but it has begun filming. They just released a little teaser photo. Ed and Lorraine chairs posted on social media. This is their last go around in the Conjuring universe. It's not... Yep. I believe this is the last Conjuring movie. It's the last in the main like franchise arc of the Conjuring movies. Yes. Yeah. So the last one's to star Ed and Lorraine Warren as like them following their stories. Yeah. This releases in September of 2025. Theories say it could be about the Snedeker family haunting, which they've had movies based off of this, the Haunting in Connecticut.
Gotcha. Okay. When I read that, I was like, I don't know if I know that story. Haunting in Connecticut was
yeah.
It was a well done film.
Yes.
It was definitely creepy.
And then you added another option.
This is one. The one that I read was that it could also be potentially the Amityville Horror, because that was one of Ed and Lorraine Warren's cases was the Amityville Horror, and we've gotten
that would be awesome.
Multiple renditions of that over the years. I would argue the most famous one's probably the one with Ryan Reynolds in it. Yeah, so I mean, who's to say which way they go or which one would be better? Do they go somewhere that isn't necessarily as known, or do they follow... I keep yawning. Do they follow suit with something that is already well known and do their own spin on it? Mm-hmm. I don't know which one I would prefer, honestly. I love these movies. I love the universe. Like we said, it's believed to be the last one in the actual main Conjuring like line, but Annabelle and the Nun Could still both get more installments. Nothing's been announced yet, but nobody has said that it's like over.
Mhm.
So, and both of those have done well as well. Also, The Curse of La Llorona
Mhm.
was one of my favorite movies actually in the entire franchise.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought it was, and that was that Linda Cardellini was in that, I believe.
I believe so. Yeah.
Too. So, but yeah. Anyway, I don't know which way I'd prefer him to go. Do you have any kind of thought or hope with that?
Just because I watched numerous of them, I kind of want the Amityville horror way, just because I'm more familiar with it. But I wouldn't hate. I loved The Haunting in Connecticut. As well.
And even if they went a completely other way with it, it was a completely other one of their stories or cases. I mean, you think like we knew nothing really about the first Conjuring movie story or the second or the third.
Yep.
And all three of those movies were fantastic, and they like made you like, at least made me like go and research shit, and I'm like looking stuff up, and where it's like with the Amityville Horror, yes, I think it would be great and they would do a great job with it, but it's like we've already seen that, so part of me is almost leaning towards like do something less known, because that's kind of been what they've done, and it's worked out really well. So
I mean, when I was doing research, I started researching the Snedeker family. And that timeline. So, yeah, I agree with you.
Awesome. Last movie update that we have is there was a Venom update. I read two different things. One is, I think, more a little bit reliable of a source, and that source is that Andy Serkis is reportedly the person playing Null.
Okay.
In the Venom in the Venom: The Last Dance. But I also did read another article that said that Norman Reedus had also possibly been in talks to play that as well. For those of you that don't know who potentially either of them are, Andy Serkis played Gollum. He was Caesar in the most recent Planet of the Apes films. And then Norman Reedus is probably the most famous for playing Daryl Dixon on The Walking Dead, but he also like originally gained fame in The Boondock Saints. Mm-hmm. So, honestly, either way that goes, I'd be fucking here for it. I feel like it's probably Andy Serkis is the more reliable source of what I read. Mm-hmm. But we still haven't seen anything in all of the trailers we've seen. I think that we've gotten like 3 trailers for Venom now, and all we've seen is one clip of him looking down kind of with his hair. You can't tell who it is, mm-hmm. right? And that's all we've really gotten. So there's nothing on the credits for who's playing Null, like on IMDb or anything, which I feel like is typically the most reliable source for like looking up like actors and like who's in what things. IMDb has historically had, before movies have come out, who is playing what, and there's nothing on about who Null is yet, so I don't know. But I also did read that, which I thought was really interesting, and I know you have something to add to this, is that one of the creators has said that Venom will not be the end of Null's story, which we've talked about before, which is that like the character of Null needs something bigger because he's such an emphatic, important piece to MCU, or just not MCU, but Marvel lore. Mm-hmm. Because he's the creator of the symbiotes. Yeah. So it sounds like they want him to potentially be the big bad for maybe Spider-Man 4, and potentially be a part of some of the other stories in the forthcoming MCU as a whole. Yeah. So one of the things that I've read kind of theory wise and also thought about when I first saw this was that like the ending of Venom: The Last Dance could potentially be like kind of world ending, but then Tom Hardy's Venom, one of two ways. Tom Hardy's Venom potentially jumps timelines and Null chases, or vice versa. Null leaves to another timeline and Venom chases, knowing that like they have to stop him, and that could potentially lead to a possible Spider-Man 4 where you get Tom Holland's Spider-Man teaming up with Tom Hardy's Venom to take on Nolan Spider-Man 4.
Dude, I would be here for
which
that.
is like one of the things that the fan base has wanted for so long now, with both these two playing these parts. Is that's what we've wanted, is a Tom Holland and Tom Hardy interaction as those two characters. So
yeah,
I know you had something that you had talked about. I don't know if I just kind of
I'm here for that. But I've heard a lot of rumblings that Sony really wants Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire back into the next Spider-Man movie, and
also
and having Noel be pulled into that universe would add to that, and it kind of makes it make sense to have the need of help from Tobey, Andrew, and Venom to take on this big bad. So I don't necessarily think it should be done. I don't agree with Sony pushing so hard on it. It was really cool for No Way Home, but if it's gonna happen, this makes sense.
If it's gonna happen, this does make sense, as long as they then also, like, I don't feel like you can pull Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield into it without also then pulling Topher Grace's Venom into it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, you're talking about the god and the creator of symbiotes.
Yeah.
So, like, if that's the way it goes, then you almost have to bring Topher Grace's Eddie Brock back. Because that would be kind of fucking crazy and cool to see Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock go against Topher Grace's Eddie Brock. Outside of that, I worry if Sony is like trying to just like further cash in on something that they've already done, which is something that I feel like the MCU has done a fairly decent job. They have dropped the ball at certain points, but fairly decent job of not doing, which is just like rehashing the same situation.
Yes.
And like No Way Home was so fucking perfect that like almost $2 billion off of $190 or off of a $200 million budget, right? Like over 9 times the budget.
Yeah.
Made profit off of at the worldwide box office. And so it will worry me if that's the road they go, because I could very quickly see that just be like, okay, we've seen this before. It doesn't have the same gusto and impact as the first time we saw all 3 of them on the screen.
Yeah.
Right. So now if you bring that back, now it's like, okay, you better fucking do something above and beyond for it to actually work.
Yeah.
So
no, I agree.
But nonetheless, it has us talking about it. It has us getting excited about it to see just what the fuck's actually going to happen.
Venom's out next week.
I was just going to say that. Venom's out next Friday, the 25th. We may have to go see that together. We'll figure out schedules. But I feel like that's the only way that it can work for us. So brings us to the Blockbusters question of the week to wrap up this week's episode.
Blockbusted.
Good call. Blockbusted. We're not wrapping up the show quite yet. Blockbusted, we watched this week. So again, to rehash what Blockbusted is, we take the previous month. So this time it's September's lowest rated fan score at home streaming movie off Rotten Tomatoes. We went with Killer Heat. Came out, I think, later September on Amazon Prime. It had a 28% fan score.
Yeah, I believe
and
it.
I think it had like a 15% critic score.
Yes.
So like really low rated. Movie for once did not star Alec Baldwin. I was wondering. I was like, is he going to pop up somewhere? That'd be fucking crazy. But it did star Joseph Gordon-Levitt, starred Shailene Woodley, and starred Richard Madden. For those of you that, I feel like the first 2 are kind of obvious people, but those of you that may not know who Richard Madden is, he played one of the Stark sons in Game of Thrones. Probably one of the most known things he's
That's what I knew him from.
Yeah.
I did not know
he was. I can't remember his name, but he was the oldest Stark son that died in like season 3 at, I think, the Red Wedding or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's who was in it. And yeah, dude. I had the synopsis on the slide, but I don't have the slide now. So
it's like a noir thriller movie.
Yeah, kind of a noir thriller. Somebody dies. Somebody brings in a like ex
PI.
Well, he is a PI,
He is
but he's
a
like
PI.
he's an ex NYPD detective.
That's right.
Which is Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character. Shailene Woodley is the one that brings him in. She is the wife of the brother who died, and the brother who died is Richard Madden, but he's also
Twin.
it's the twin, so he plays dual characters. The twin, so Shailene Woodley and Richard Madden's characters are married, but then he also plays the twin brother. He dies kind of in a suspect way, a rock climbing fall, and yeah, she pretty much brings Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character in to kind of secretly do some detective work and investigate what actually happened, so they can kind of get some closure on it. What'd you think?
Well, I gotta say, I did not think this was as bad as the other two movies.
Agreed.
I'll start off with that.
Agreed.
I actually did not
Yes.
read the synopsis at all, and I just went in totally blind.
Same. I didn't read the synopsis before I watched it either.
I just went in and was like, all right, man, it got Joseph Gordon-Levitt in it.
Yep.
So,
Well, just the three primary cast members, I was like, cool.
yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I liked most everything I've seen with Shailene Woodley in it, and I love Game of Thrones. So that's really all I've seen with Richard Madden in it. But
I will say the movie runs a little slow. It feels very sluggish. A lot of, not filler, like, because something is happening. Like, he's doing baby steps to investigate this whole thing.
It's like a full-blown investigative noir thriller, like you said.
Yeah.
Like, but the investigative part is very front-running there, I guess, if you will. So yeah, it does feel kind of slow if you're expecting more of like an action thriller, but it's not. That's not what it is.
Yeah.
So
Acting wasn't bad. There was nothing bad acting about it. Again, a running theme in all three of our blockbusters. Flashbacks. There's always
I know that was gonna be one of them. I was like, what the fuck? Like the first thing when like they finally got to that first thing, I was like, motherfucker. Because it's like all three of the movies we've done for Blockbusted so far have had some interjected, seems kind of random at first. I will say this one made way more sense than the other two, which is again kind of to what we said, like this was definitely a better movie than the other two. Yeah. Hands down. I don't think there would be any question from anybody that would watch these films. Yeah. I would say, yeah, no, this one's definitely better. I mean, the first one we did had a 0% total, so it makes sense. True. But yeah, the flashbacks are definitely a running theme. Yeah. And it's not on purpose at all. This is literally just get on Rotten Tomatoes, I put in the filters, and I find the lowest rated one for the previous month. That's all I do. Yeah. I don't read synopsis. I don't read nothing. I have no idea what's in these movies. I just pick the lowest one, and I send it to you, and I say, hey, this is what we're watching. And we watch it, and it just happened to be that there's very similar too. Like all three of them are very similar, like pieces to the flashbacks. Yes. Where it's like something happened in my past and this is what's led me to be who I am today. Type of thing.
100%. I kept on thinking of Sin City while I was watching, just like because Joseph Gordon-Levitt was narrating his way through the movie, and I just kept hearing it wasn't his voice in Sin City, but it was similar. It's a noir movie as well, and so overall, did not hate this one, and when we go to the ratings part, you'll see. So
one of the things for me in this, and honestly, it's the primary thing that like made me bring down what my rating for it is going to be. Did you watch Boy Meets World?
Yeah.
Like regularly, like if I like mention something, you'll know what I'm talking about. You think? The episode when they're in college, and Topanga and Corey live together, and I don't remember exactly what leads to it, but Corey like opens up a portal in the closet and he goes through it, and then he like ends up in this like noir 1950.
Oh yes, yeah.
And he is narrating. Yeah, that's all I could fucking hear. It sounded almost identical, dude. Like Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Corey Matthews, like just the way they said things was so similar that I could not, every time the narration popped up, I was like, it's fucking Boy Meets World. Like that's all I'm thinking of. So that it definitely like took my attention away a little bit from what I would have preferred. But anyways, yeah.
I will say very predictable ending, at least in my thoughts. There was no swerve for me. I was like, okay, I think I know what's gonna happen. And
okay, you're better off than I was because I thought I knew part of it, but I think the final reveal, I was like, oh, okay. I didn't actually see that part coming.
Gotcha.
So
I mean, I didn't know the details, but definitely predicted.
I didn't think that with the initial reveal of him actually switching spots with his brother, I didn't think with the way that played out that then the final Shailene Woodley reveal would have happened. That part I was like, oh, that caught me off guard because I thought they actually set that up well.
Gotcha.
So all right, well, rating, what do you think?
Giving it my own Rotten Tomatoes, it's going to be the highest one. I'm going 40%.
Okay.
I almost wanted to go down the middle, but what took me out of it was just like I said, the predictability, but how kind of sluggish it felt throughout of it. I didn't hate this movie. I didn't think the acting was bad. Just thought it was a little slow, so I'm giving it a 40.
Okay. I'm going a little higher than you. I'm giving it a solid D.
Okay.
I'm giving it about a 60, 61. Because same, I didn't hate it. I was fully engaged the whole time I was watching. Like I didn't catch myself like doing other shit like I did with the other two and just kind of being like, all right. Like I was actually like, all right, I'm actually invested in this, which I think is a core principle of what a movie should be. Hopefully you should be trying to, whatever fan base you're trying to go for should have them invested. And I was invested. I do agree that it was slow, which definitely helped lower that for me. They could have gone about things, I think, a little bit differently. And the narration, like I said, that was what fucked with me the most, was because I was like, every time, like if anything pulled me off focus, it was that. Yeah. And that could just be like a very just me thing because of the Boy Meets World.
No, when you say it now, I can see that.
But the whole time I was just like, oh my fucking God. It sounds exactly, I'm waiting for like the punchline because it sounded so similar to the Boy Meets World episode. But like you said, you kind of saw the full ending coming. I didn't. That part actually caught me by surprise, which helped raise it back up for me a little bit. Because, like I said, I was like, I feel like there's something with the twin situation. Because like you're not gonna have twins in a movie and not have that play. Yeah. Right. So like to me that was predictable. But then I thought that was the. Like I thought the Shailene Woodley swerve was like the immediate, like we knew she is kind of betraying the family by bringing him on to figure out what happened. Her being a part of what happened in the first place, and then her trying to cover up the other part. That part I was like, oh shit, that was new to me. That was a little refreshing while watching it. So that helped me bump it up a little bit more. But yeah, so definitely not 28% or 15%. No. Like, I don't think so.
Yeah. I think more people need to see it. So go watch it. Sure. It's on Amazon Prime. Yeah. Our average score brings us right around 50%. Yep. So our average score is 50, well above the Rotten Tomatoes score. So yep. I would feel comfortable in recommending this movie.
Yeah. And it's not one you're probably going to buy and put on your shelf, but it's definitely, I would say it's worth a watch for sure. Definitely worth. It's free on Prime too right now. Like if you pay for Amazon, if you pay for Prime Video, it's not like one where you have to rent it on Prime. Also, like it's just, you could just watch it, which is nice. Yeah. Because I think both the other two we had to fucking rent or buy. Yep. Which is absolutely outrageous because they were dog shit movies, but. This one is free, and it's much better than the other two that we've covered so far for Blockbusters. Yeah. So I would definitely recommend the watch for it and give it your own rating and even fucking hit us up on social media and let us know what you thought of it.
Perfect.
This now actually brings us to wrap up the episode. Blockbusters question of the week. I pose this one also. I phrase it as just tear jerkers. We've talked about emotional stuff before on the show, but just specifically movie and show tear jerkers. I want a specific scene from a movie that brought you to tears, Tim, and I want a specific scene from a show that brought you to tears. All right. I can go first if you want, or if you want to go first and you're ready, we can roll with it.
I'll go first.
All right, so movie first. Go movie first.
This is gonna be a spoiler alert, unfortunately, because the scene,
son of a bitch,
the scene I'm gonna talk about kind of spoils the end of this movie. But
fuck it.
Remember Me with Robert Pattinson.
That's not a spoiler alert. That movie's been out long enough.
Well, yes, for sure.
If you haven't seen that, fuck you.
but you know, this guy, Robert Pattinson's character, has like down and out. He's not feeling his family. He's having a rough go of things, and then suddenly things start turning good for him. And really, the biggest thing was he did not have a good relationship with his dad. It was very rocky. Goes to see his dad at the end of this movie, only to reveal he's in the Twin Towers on the day that the planes crash into him, and it kind of leaves it up in the air. But I don't know. It was a sad moment, and had me tear jerking.
All right. Mine is, I've actually talked about this movie on here before, but not for this specific reason. Patch Adams is my favorite movie of all time. Robin Williams. If you don't know, he essentially like tries to become a doctor to help people, and he kind of does it in a very like clown funny sort of way to like help kids and stuff. But anyways, at one point in the movie, the girl that he's falling in love with and dating gets murdered. And then there's one scene shortly after that where he is like on the edge of this bluff, this cliff side, where him and her had, you know, like talked about like buying land here and opening this like free hospital essentially. And he's, during that scene, he's like essentially yelling at God, and it's just the whole scene is just like, it's very relatable, because I feel like at some point everybody's probably been there where like something has happened or you've lost somebody and it doesn't make sense to you and you don't understand why that's happened, and it's just like the only other thing that you feel like you can do is just like yell to whatever it is, right? And that's just kind of what the kind of epitome of that whole scene is. And that scene is extremely emotional. If you know Robin Williams, like, he was amazing at bringing that out. And yeah, so that's my movie scene, is Patch Adams. One of the reasons why it's one of my favorite movies of all time.
I like it. Can you go first for the show?
Yes, I can. I've actually talked about this before on here as well, and potentially for the same reason, but not in the same way, I guess. I'm going Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. There's and the reason why I'm saying this, and I think I am repeating this from like a much earlier episode, like one of the first few episodes, maybe. Could have even been the first episode, and it's because I don't think I've ever cried at a TV show outside of this. But I've cried at this episode of the TV show almost every time I watch it. And like, I know what's happening, and I know the history behind it, and I know like the behind the scenes stuff of it, but it's still every time just like, I can't help it. I'm just like, fuck, man, because it's so just like pulls at your heartstrings. And it's the story arc where Will's dad comes back into the picture for a short period of time, and then he like sets up these like plans with him and like all the stuff, and then he bails and leaves again. And it's the moment at the end of that episode where Will is like kind of manning up and being like, no, screw him, I don't need him, like, I am me, I've done what I've done on my own, like blah blah blah. And then he kind of just breaks down in tears, and it's the, why doesn't he love me, man? Why doesn't he love me? And the embrace by Uncle Phil, And the reason why that's so emotional is because if you know any of the information about the behind the scenes of that show, that wasn't planned. That was completely off script, and Will Smith actually broke down crying because it was a real life experience that he has, because he doesn't know or at least at that point or whatever, he had a very similar experience with his own dad. I don't know about like obviously later in his life if he had ever rekindled that or anything, but his dad walked out on him when he in real life when he was young and didn't know his dad and didn't have that relationship, so that would like really hit home. And it was in the middle of the scene, he goes off script, does this, and just breaks down crying. And Uncle Phil's reaction, literally just human to human, was to just grab him and pull him in. And that's how the episode fucking ended. And it's like, it was completely off script. It was completely ad-libbed. And like all of that was just like human to human, real emotion and real reaction to the situation. And I'm just like, fuck. Like that gets me, man. That shit gets me every goddamn time. So,
it pops up on social media quite a bit, and I stop and watch it every time.
Every single
and get emotional
time.
from it like, every time. And I'm like, why am I doing this to myself?
I love you, Will. I love you. Yeah.
Well, I got a few for this, but I'm just going to list one, and then I'll just talk about runner-ups. And I made you go first just in case one of my runner-ups was going to be, and I think you'll agree with it later on. But the scene I chose, it was tough. It's all from, well, not all, but the main one is from The Office. And I mean, there's a couple. The one that really comes to mind is Jim Halpert in The Office with Michael in Goodbye, Michael. And he says, I'll see you for lunch. And just the look on Michael's face, just I'm getting emotional just thinking about it, just because
I could see like the watery eye, and he's just
it was like happy but also very sad at the same time.
Yeah, because that was another one that, if you know the history of the show, took them multiple takes to get through, because they were actually like full blown crying because they knew it was his last day on set. A follow-up to The Office was just Pam's art show earlier in the show, and she like everyone's like kind of making fun of her art, and then Michael comes in and it's just like, I gotta have it, how much? Like, and it was just like a wholesome moment. Like, he's a jackass 99% of the show. Yeah, but there are those moments.
Those moments come through, and there's a few of them through his 7 seasons, but that one was just one of them. And then lastly, the Marshall's dad dying in How I Met Your Mother.
Fuck.
Just
okay, I lied. I have cried outside of Fresh Prince. I forgot. I fucking forgot about that.
That scene was just devastating towards the end of that episode.
I don't know how that didn't even come into my mind. Maybe because I've blocked it out because it's so fucking hard hitting. That is. Can I change my answer?
You can. That's why I made you go first, because I thought it was gonna be your choice.
I think the Fresh Prince it sticks out to me purely just because of like I was watching that like as it was like coming out type of thing.
Yeah.
How I Met Your Mother was a little later for me because I didn't watch that like when it was coming out. I didn't like start watching How I Met Your Mother until I was probably in like high school or college when it was on streaming.
Yeah.
So that's probably why Fresh Prince sticks out for me, because I was much younger when I saw that, and it had that impact on me then. But yeah, I would probably, if I would have rethought my own question and really sat and thought about it for longer, that moment is way more, I think, relatable for everybody as a whole, because it's you either already have or you're going to lose your dad at some point.
Yeah.
Right. Or somebody.
Yeah.
Right. Like not even necessarily your dad. It could be mom, grandparent, whoever, like somebody that you're super close with, like that's going to happen. That's just life. That's the way it goes. So that's super relatable.
Yeah.
Like more so than potential like the dad walking out type thing, because that's not necessarily the most relatable for everybody. It's just the way that played. But I love the How I Met Your Mother scene because, again, if you know the behind the scenes stuff, they didn't tell Jason Segel what was happening. They just said that Lily, like the script for him showed that like Lily shows up crying.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's all he knew. So he knew like something was happening, but he didn't know what it was. So like his reaction to that in the moment was real.
Mm-hmm.
It was him actually like learning that information and then processing it and then the response. And I think like the most emotional part about that is that final statement, I'm not ready for this.
Yeah. Oh God.
Because it's the most relatable thing.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
And just
damn, dude, good poll. I don't know how the fuck that it totally evaded my mind space when I was thinking about this.
What just makes it even more like Marshall's character, like you see him sad when Lily leaves, like, but
yeah, but it's played for comedy.
Yes, exactly. This is like the
this
first
in
time
that
you
moment,
see him
yeah.
just full on sad emotion. I was just, damn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, dude, that's episode 20.
Episode 20.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers, man.
Glad to be back doing it with you. And the podcast.
Let's fucking